Hi, it's Ron and Mary here doing one of our very favorite things, and that is responding to questions that you have submitted, for which we thank you. Today, one of everyone's favorite topics, the ego and the authentic self, and how they do or don't get along very well. One of the ways in which the dynamic between the ego and the authentic self um, gets manifested, if you think about this, if the ego is interested in security and safety, so if we picture what security and safety look like, we talk, for example, in this country about having secure borders, safe borders. But what's the difference really between a safe, contained place and a prison? What's really the difference? If we try to provide ourselves with safety and security in that regard, then we really are effectively living in a prison of sorts in consciousness. Inside of each person, because of the spiritual evolution that is occurring on the planet at this time, which, by the way, has always occurred. It's always been going on. It just seems to be speeding up right now in terms of humanity. There's this wanting to grow, wanting to expand. Well, it's very clear that if you want to do that, then you've got to knock down those borders and those barriers in order to go into the next step. And so if you're concerned about how safe that is, there's going to be a resistance to doing exactly that. So within the individual, that same dynamic is occurring. In order for me to expand, how do I deal with the borders that I have placed inside myself? And this is where trust comes in. Because at some point we must be willing to say, especially if we're dealing in a spiritual context, and this is one of the very valuable, powerful things about the spiritual context, you must be willing to say, I'm going to risk it. I'm going to knock down the borders, I'm going to let go of the resistance, I'm just going to go ahead anyway and trust. This is why in many circles, spiritual evolution is considered a trust walk. And we have that exercise where you fall backwards and and somebody catches you. Spiritual awakening is very much like that. It's like jumping off a cliff and trusting that you're going to be caught by something or someone. So at some point, that whole notion of security and safety has to be transcended. Otherwise, we cannot grow.
And, it shows up in subtle ways. Like, for example, say I really have a yearning inside myself to explore my artistic and creative expression, but maybe I'm really reluctant to sign up for a class because I've had no training, and I know there will be people who have had training and are already accomplished artists who'll be in the class. And here I am, I'm a neophyte, I'm barely beginning. And so sometimes security comes down to I want to protect my image of myself. I don't want to make myself vulnerable by risking experimenting with something new, like my creative expression, my artistic expression.
We have so many more of these protections than we think we do. And this is why people that come to USM, they've come to the place, by and large, where they're ready to surrender those illusions and move into the trusting and move into the, there's got to be something more to life than this. This can't be all there is.
One of the other elements that comes to me with regard to security and safety, when I ask myself at the deepest level, what am I attempting to protect? What I notice that it comes down to, it's like in the ego, there is this misidentification that somehow I'm unworthy, that I'm not enough. And so the pretenses of my ego is really an effort to protect me from the pain of the experience of that misidentification, that lie that I've told myself. This is courageous work This is work that is designed to assist you in awakening in the authentic self. And at times, the ego may experience a discomfort because you're really on the frontier within your own consciousness. You're on the frontier of your own awakening, of coming more into the experience of the love that you are, of the strength of heart. This work is not for the faint of heart. And yet I would also share from my own experience of all the years that I've been doing this work, it just keeps getting better and better.
In addition to what Mary is saying, please hear this. Please hear this. You are so courageous because you're the ones who are daring to throw off the barriers of that imagined security and dare to explore the uncharted territory. As long as you keep persevering, you'll explore that territory, you'll learn from it, you'll continue to grow, and the next time that you take the next leap forward, it won't be nearly as hard. In fact, you get to a point where you go, oh boy, what's the next leap? And that's a happy day.